like to also say, with great gratitude and great heart opening, what a beautiful experience it has been for me to experience you. When I'm with you, I see you as a wise father figure, even though I'm older than you. But in some ways, you seem a lot wiser than me.
לא לזה רמזתי שהוא נראה לי ילד.
I know, but your wisdom and your beauty and your heart comes through your teaching. Even though we might have been a little hard on you in our comments, it was only done with love and not as a way, and you know that. Because I believe Kabbalah is very important in the world, as you know, I said the last time. And it was my first mystical, spiritual inclination that got me thinking about these issues. And if I hadn't learned what little I learned, which may not be nearly what the mastery you have, I understand, but it ignited my heart. It ignited my heart. And that, I think, was important, because I wanted to know very deeply how God does this. I'm interested. I'm very interested. And maybe at times I feel the presence of God, and at times I don't. But when I do, I feel like a child of God. And maybe that's why I have a child heart, because I feel that way. I feel that God is part of me, part of my being, part of my mystery. And I love life. I love all of it, including the ugliest things. I love it all. I can look at it with both sadness and laughter at the same time. And I don't know why I can do that, but I just can. So for me, what seems to be necessary is that the spiritual umbrella of great wisdom must begin to encompass the world, which means all cultures. And I mean, from my experience in the world, there are many cultures. And I don't see any reason why Kabbalah cannot be taught in Chinese, cannot be taught in Arabic, cannot be taught in Russian, cannot be taught to Christians, cannot be taught in the Catholic Church, cannot be taught to the Pope. I don't see any reason. I don't see any conflict anywhere. In a certain way, it's a matter of public relations and how we present this, if we want to do this kind of work. Not in the sense of trying to make more money, or in the sense of trying to get smarter, or in the sense of even understanding physics better, but just because the world needs it needs to reawaken its spirituality. And the wisdom of the Kabbalah, thank God for the wisdom of the Kabbalah, is that you don't even have to put God in the equation if you wish. You can leave God out, and because then the atheists can come in and say, look, this is a science as well as a spiritual thing. It's recognizing how we deal with the spirit of humankind. And that gets the Buddhists in. And to me, it's important that there be some form of unity. Even though every religious practice can go off in their separate ways, I think unity is a very important concept here. In physics, for me, what I've been able to do is see from the teachings of Kabbalah how they relate to some aspects of quantum physics. What I learned was about what are called the mother letters, Aleph, Mem, and Shin. How these were the letters of creation, which I know you know these things. And this is what my teacher taught me. And he had this whole vision of this movement, of this double flow of Shin into Sin, from Aleph into Mem. And it moved me because I sensed that he didn't know any quantum physics at all, nothing about it, but yet we have the same form in quantum physics about the wave, what we call the quantum wave function as it moves and as it behaves. And through that, creation comes into being. So in a way, quantum physics is a science, material science, yes, don't get me confused with saying it's spiritual, but it's the closest to the spiritual. It's the closest science I've come to, which touches on what I think is the teaching of the Kabbalah. And the way I teach now and what I write about, I bring this out. I mean, I bring it out in all my books now. So it's there. And if you, even though I don't always say Kabbalah, you will see it. And in two of my books, mind into matter and matter into feeling, it's explicit that it's said. But in the spiritual universe, it's explicit. Even in the idea of the model of a soul and a self and how those are related in the whole universe, and how the universe and the self and the soul are really related. And for me, the future, the thing which excites me, is if we can understand how it is we can become cut off from Spirit, from God. If we can understand that. I know you understand it, but for me, it's a question of understanding it maybe scientifically or opening my heart more so I can understand it better so that I can teach it. Then that to me is a science and a spirit gathering that's worth doing. I understand completely what the problem is, because it's not really a problem of the teaching of what the material is. It's a problem of the culture. Rev Leichtman comes from a Russian culture and now an Israeli culture, and there's a way in which teaching goes on, in which the teacher maybe speaks for a while without interruption. Mm-hmm. And the culture, the American culture right now, is very laissez-faire. It's very open. And what the teacher does is to make sure that what was just taught is understood by saying, did you get this? Is this understood? Do I need to go back over this? What needs to be done is not the classic style of teaching in which you lay out everything from A to Z, but you stop from A before you go to B and say, do you understand A? And if they say no, you go back over A again until A is understood. Then you go to B, and then you understand the transition from A. It's got to be like that, sort of like that. And another thing about the teaching that works for me, is you put even though the Rev does not like to put his own person into the teaching, and I realize he comes from no ego, but there's a certain amount of ego which I think is important to getting to no ego. It's a paradox, I realize, but Kabbalah's paradox anyway, and that's to share something of itself, to share yourself. We want to know you too, even though the ego is not important. We need to know you, and we know you from your heart.